Good morning. I am Benita Singh from Henry Kelsey Senior Public School.
Sat Shri Akal, my name is Ranbir Singh. I'm from Don Valley Middle School.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm Sukhmani Kaur from Macomb Public School. We, your MCs for today, welcome all of our distinguished viewers on behalf of the TDSB Sikh Heritage Month Planning Committee. We appreciate that you have chosen to spend some time with us as we wrap up the ceremonies to celebrate the Sikh Heritage Month. To begin with, I invite Ranbir Singh to read the land acknowledgement in English, French, and Punjabi. If you are able to, please stand for the land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nation, Métis, and the Inuit peoples. Nous reconnaissons que nous sommes accueillis sur les terres du Mississauga, des Anishinaabe, de la Confédération Haudenosaunee et du Wendat. Nous voulons également reconnaître la pérennité de la présence des Premières Nations, des Métis et des Inuits. Asi e mandeha ke asi Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee Confederacy ate Wendat, de Mississauga di Azamina ute stit, ha ate asi Saria Pelia Koma Métis ate Inuit Lokha di Satai Maujudgi nu vi pachande han.
First of all, we invite Ms. Rachel Chernos Lynn, the Chairperson, Board of Trustees of TDSB, for her message on this occasion.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm wonderfully thrilled to be here virtually with you this morning to celebrate the closing of Sikh Heritage Month at the TDSB. This past month, the TDSB, through the Sikh Heritage Month Committee, has presented many opportunities for our staff, students, and our communities to learn more about Sikh traditions and history by highlighting the many contributions of Sikh Canadians and by learning about Sikh culture. Last night at our regular board meeting, trustees spoke to the importance of Sikh heritage and culture at the TDSB and in our city, and highlighted the many events hosted virtually and in person this past month. We were also able to enjoy a short video made by one of our students. I want to extend my sincere thanks to the Heritage Committee for organizing this closing event, as well as the classroom content and the variety of activities that have been taking place throughout this significant month. Thank you so much, and I look forward to this morning's event.
Ms. Lynn, many thanks for your kind words, and we appreciate that you took the time out of your busy schedule to be with us again. We are pleased to have our Associate Director of Education, Ms. Louise Cerisco, with us. I request you, Ms. Cerisco, to please address us.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We are streaming into classrooms across the Toronto District School Board and to workplaces. Thank you for joining us this morning. It is such a pleasure to be celebrating Sikh Heritage Month at the Toronto District School Board. Here we use Heritage Months as opportunities to learn and celebrate the diversity of our students, families, and staff in the communities across the city. There's a great deal of joy that is found in learning about our own richness in our heritage and history, as well as the heritage and histories that are not our own. Celebrating Sikh Heritage Month in the Toronto District School Board is an opportunity for all of us to learn and celebrate the many contributions, traditions, and histories of Sikh Canadians. I look forward to learning more today and throughout the year, and I'm grateful to the organizers for such a thoughtful array of programming. This year's theme is CASE. CASE is one of the 5 CARS indicators that Sikh individuals must acknowledge as part of their faith. Yes, CASE, keeping one's hair uncut, has been regarded as a symbol both of holiness and strength. This beautiful symbolism reminds me of how other cultures celebrate and honor hair too. I know we will be learning more about CASE today. One story of a Sikh Canadian I learned about recently was that of Narajan Gyani Singh Grewal. In 1950, Grewal became the first Sikh person in Canada and North America to be elected to public office, successfully after running for the position on the Board of Commissioners in Mission, British Columbia. He eventually became a mayor of that city as well. Despite difficulties he faced, including those related to discrimination, Grewal made significant contributions to public life and business. He spoke about the kinds of communities that could elect someone of a different heritage than they were used to. There were many obstacles that Sikh Canadians faced and have overcome in their journeys to be as immigrants. As we reflect on the many contributions of Sikh Canadians across fields and learn more about Sikh traditions, this month for me has also been an opportunity to think about how we can continue to make our own communities more inclusive places for all. And that's so important. And thank you again for joining us and streaming from your classrooms and places of work today. So to our Sikh students and staff, know that we honor your traditions, your histories, and your dreams. I want to extend my sincere thanks to the Heritage Committee, students, communities, and guests for organizing this and contributing to the launch event, classroom content, and activities throughout this month. Thank you for your commitment to enriching learning about histories, current realities, and the future to which we all aspire. Happy Sikh Heritage Month. Thank you.
Ms. Sirsko, thank you for your message on the celebration of the Sikh Heritage Month. Your presence on this occasion is heartily appreciated. We are now going to invite Ms. Tina Singh for the keynote address. Ms. Tina Singh is an occupational therapist, digital content creator, mom of 3, and the founder of Bold Helmets. In December 2022, Ms. Singh launched the Bold Helmets brand, which had created the first safety-certified multi-sport helmet for Sikh kids who heat their hair. As an occupational therapist who worked in the area of head and brain injuries, Ms. Singh knew that a helmet was essential for her kids. When she couldn't find one to fit on the heads of her children who tie their uncut hair in a knot, she made her own. We request Ms. Singh to tell us more about this great safety product.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I was telling the organizers earlier that I'm actually from the TDSB. I grew up in the TDSB. So the fact that I'm here today to share some of my journey with you is a great honor. Happy Sikh Heritage Month, and thank you again. So I'm here to talk to you about Bold Helmets, but let me talk to you a little bit about who I am and why I'm here. So let's start with this, actually. So most of you will recognize this person, Rick Ashley. So my kids, who try to keep me young and cool, said that I should include this as part of today's presentation because it'll help lighten the mood a little bit, because I am kind of nervous, but I really enjoy presenting to students. And so this is a real joy for me. And I hope we make it through and learn something. And I hope you guys enjoy what I have to share about my journey. So I'll start with who I am, why I'm here. I'll talk about GACE and the Sikh identity for me. And then I'll also talk about Bold Helmets, taking a product from idea to creation. So why am I here? Sorry, no, I've already made a mistake, guys. Who am I? So my name is Tina Singh, and as you heard in the introduction, I'm an occupational therapist. Some of you may have seen occupational therapists in your school. Some of you may have heard of occupational therapists in other spaces. We work in many different sectors, from hospitals to community, and we work with all different age groups. And so one area that some very select OTs work in is product development and business. And so this is an area I've sort of ventured into with my product, which I'll share more about in a little bit. I'm also a digital content creator, which basically means I share videos and information on the internet sometimes about my life as, a second generation Canadian, as, a mom of 3, and as an occupational therapist. I'm a Sikh and I'm a mom of 3, which is probably my most important job. So why am I here? I'm here because I was invited for Sikh Heritage Month, which is such an honor. I'm also here because I'm an entrepreneur, and I have a product to talk to you about that talks about safety and inclusion for Sikh kids. So let's talk about GACE and Sikhi. So many Sikhs have long uncut hair. So you'll see this picture. This is my family, my husband and my 3 kids, who are 11, 9, and 7. And they have long uncut hair that they keep in a top knot, or like a bun. We call it a juda, on the top of their head. And it's covered with a small cloth covering called a pratka. So that sounds and looks different than a full turban that you may be used to seeing, but usually young Sikh kids have a pratka. So this is what that looks like. And so keeping your hair, keeping your gaze is meant to respect the way you are naturally, right? It's about believing in the perfection of the way you were created, right? And so this relationship de gaze, or this experience of mine with my kids keeping their hair, is really what informed and led me onto my journey of bold helmets. And you'll see that in a little bit when I talk to you about it a bit more. So I want you to meet my kids. So these are my kids, and they're not part of the TDSB, but I'm here to thoroughly embarrass them. That's what I tell them. Anytime I do a presentation, I'm here to thoroughly embarrass you, but they really are the reason behind the product that I developed. They're really the reason behind this whole thing and how it got started. So we've got my 11-year-old, my 9-year-old, my 7-year-old. As you can see, big basketball fans, also big Leafs fans. Go Leafs, go. Love to go down the skate parks here in our local neighborhood. Loved biking. But when my kids were about 5 years old, or maybe a little bit younger even, starting to learn to ride their bikes without training wheels, even with training wheels, I ran into a problem. And I'm going to show you what that problem was. So this is one of my kids. This is a standard bicycle helmet that I picked up off a shelf for my son. I tried to put it on, and this is what it looked like. And so I mentioned before that I'm an occupational therapist, and I spent many years working in the area of head and brain injuries. So I believe very, very strongly in helmets. So when I put the helmet on my child and it looked like this, I knew that it was not fitting in the way that it needs to fit to actually create any kind of protection. So if my child was to have a fall of any type, his head really wasn't going to be protected. And so I started to think about this, and I'm going to share some of the process we went to find a solution. So imagine this is me and my family, you know, Homer and Lisa. We're sitting here, we're trying to figure out, like, okay, we've got this problem. We know we're not the only ones with this problem. How do we find a solution? So we went through research, right? Research and critical thinking, looking at what was currently available on the market, looking at all the helmets that exist, thinking that there must be an option for us. We quickly realized that there was not. And when there wasn't, we thought about what we do about it. So in our minds, this was a simple solution, right? Why not just create a helmet that has space for a juda or a top knot or a patka? And so the idea was very simple in our minds. And so we went to, sorry, can we go back to the last slide? Yeah, so what we did is we went back to a design engineer, right? So we thought about we had our own critical thinking, we drew out a design, and then we went to an expert. That expert was a design engineer, and we said, okay, we've got this picture in our mind, we've drawn it out on this little napkin, this is what we think it should look like. Can you make this like a real blueprint, right? And that is called a CAD file, so make it a real blueprint. That design engineer then took our idea, drew it out in this blueprint format so that we could take it to another expert. And that expert was someone who designs helmets and someone who is familiar with helmet testing, because helmets have to go through testing to make sure they meet the mark for the Canadian market, US market, like every country has their own standards. And so when we went to that person, I'm going to show you our model actually, because I have them here. So our very first model, this is the first one. As you'll see the inside, you'll see something really different about the inside of this helmet. This is the first model we took to our expert on helmet testing. And they said, this is a great design, but it's never going to pass safety testing because you have no foam on the inside of the helmet. And so when we drop a huge anvil on the top of the helmet, it's going to crack, and therefore the product will not pass testing. And so the reason we have this hole originally is because we figured if you have 2 or 3 inches of hair, it's a lot of cushioning, and maybe we don't need foam there, and it'll allow for a better fit of the helmet. However, learning what we learned, we then decided to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And let me tell you, there's this idea that in Sikh that we really speak strongly of, which is Chardikala, right? And Chardikala means staying in optimism, being hopeful. And so even though things may not be going your way in day-to-day life, and maybe, you know, the regular ebbs and flows of life, we maintain this hopeful optimism, this Chardikala. And so I had to keep myself in this Chardikala spirit, which honestly was hard at times because you have to keep going back to the drawing board. But that was our first model. And so in Chardikala spirit, we went back to our design engineer, we went back to another expert, and we said, okay, what can we do differently? How do we put foam across the entire helmet to make sure it'll pass safety testing? And so this was model 2. And so it might be a little bit hard to see, but you can see that there's black foam that goes across the entire helmet. So this is also another prototype. It's got a 3D printed shell, and we're just checking to make sure that the EPS foam and everything fits on top of our kids for our testing. And so once we had that model, we went back to our design expert, our helmet testing expert, and we said, okay, what do you think now? he said, I think it looks pretty good. I think we need to make a couple and we need to test it. And I think you have a pretty good chance of passing. We then got the green light of passing. And so I'm going to share with you our final product. And that is this one here. This is one of the colors. Foam goes all the way through. Might be a little bit hard to see here, but I will share it in the next slide. But I really want to take a second and talk about this process. So this whole process took 2.5 to 3 years. And so I've explained it in a very, hopefully, simple way as the steps we went through. But I really want to call on some of the things that you do in school. Like as students, we talk a lot about STEAM, right? Science, technology, engineering, arts, math. And so we took all of those steps in this process, right? There is science involved with the testing. There was science involved even with even the engineering part of it, right? The whole technology for the testing, the technology to build the product, right? The math with the numbers, making sure what weight that anvil was, what weight the helmet is, because all those things, there's rules around all of that, right? And even the art of the design of the helmet. So all of those factors came into play. And I want to share that because I know myself as a student, sometimes I felt like, I don't know if I'm ever going to use this thing in my real life. And I'm sure there's students out there that feel that way sometimes about something they're learning. And I just wanted to share an example of a time when I used all the STEAM things in a process to develop a real life product. And so if we can go to the next slide, I can share the solution. So you saw the blue version. These are now my 3 boys in their helmets. This helmet is designed for kids 5 and up, and it fits like a head circumference of 48 to 56 centimeters. It is fully safety tested and certified for the Canada, US, UK, and European Union. And we're very proud of the product that we've put forward. And our goal was to create more inclusion and diversity in the area of bicycle helmets. And I'm happy to report that we're on the right track. And we hope that we've been able to contribute in some small way to visibility and identity for our Sikh kids, being able to keep their gaze, keep their identity, but still participate in all the things that are important to them.
Thank you for your message, Ms. Singh, and the wonderful invention that extends the joy of safe bike rides and sports to Kesdari Sikh boys. The theme for our celebrations this year is Kes, the uncut hair that the Sikhs keep. Now, Sukhmani Kaur and Sartaj Singh from Macklin Public School will present their views and some facts about the star, the turban worn by Sikhs to cover their hair.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Sartaj Singh.
And I'm Sukhmani Kaur.
For today's Sikh Heritage Month presentation, we'll be talking about the dastar, which in English is known as the Sikh turban.
Let us first begin by talking about the Sikh's physical identity. In 1699, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, our 10th Sikh Guru, gave us a distinguished identity. In regards to our names, Guruji proclaimed that all Sikh men will have the last name Singh, and all females will carry the last name Kaur. This identity eliminated the caste-based system or social status amongst people and promoted equality and unity amongst us all.
At the same time, Guru Gobind Singh Ji also gave the hukam, which means an order that every Sikh man and woman shall keep their hair unshorn. Guruji wanted us to keep our body in its natural form.
Just like the indigenous people in Canada, we believe our hair is sacred. We must take good care of our hair and keep it clean by combing it daily. That is also one of the reasons why Guruji expected that we keep our heads covered.
Our 5th Guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, wrote a description of a true man of God. In that description, he mentioned the turban being a part of an ideal appearance. The turban in Punjabi is known as a dastar or a pug. The word dastar in Persian means hand of God. The hair is first tied into a top bun. The dastar, which is usually 5 to 6 meters long, is then tied around the head. When tying the dastar, the wearer must make sure that it does not touch the floor or get dirty.
The dastar can be tied in different ways, depending on the style that the wearer feels comfortable with. Here are a few different styles. As for the color of the dastar, a person can wear any color turban they like. Colors like orange, blue, and white are traditionally worn during religious celebrations or occasions, as these are known as the Khalsa colors. These colors carry emotional significance of royalty, love, and purity. Red or pink is traditionally worn during Sikh weddings. Head coverings worn by kids include the rumal and a patka.
The dastar has become a unique identity of the Sikhs. Traditionally, the turban was a sign of royalty and authority, but all the Sikh gurus wore the dastar and it became a very important part of the Sikh faith, which is based on the ideology of Ape Gur Chilla, meaning that the guru and the Sikh is to be of no separation. Guruji is uplifting the Sikhs to be of similar status. A dastar represents equality and does not discriminate in any way. It is also a reminder of spirituality and a symbol of honor and self-respect.
The function of the dastar includes maintaining dignity and cleanliness of the hair. It protects the head, serves as a spiritual crown, and is a reminder that one who wears a dastar is here to help.
From this presentation, you can see that the dastar is much more than just a piece of cloth. It is a symbol of unity, resilience, and determination. By educating ourselves and others about the dastar, we can promote a better understanding and respect for all cultures and traditions. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Sukhmani and Sartaj, thank you for highlighting the importance of the stud. Next up, we will enjoy a recital of a shabad, one of our hymns from our scripture, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. This shabad is a composition of our ninth Guru, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and is composed in Rag Basan Hindol. This shabad focuses on temporary nature of our physical self and preaches that our soul is an extension of the Creator. So we should aim at living an honorable life and stay detached from material comforts. Sartaj Singh is singing the shabad and he's accompanied by Sukhmani Kaur playing on a Sikh musical instrument called the ruba.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Thank you for this soulful presentation, Sirtaj and Sukhmani. Let us now watch a slideshow that highlights some aspects of Sikhism and also provides a sneak peek into the resources that have been compiled for elementary and secondary schools to learn more about Sikhism.
Want to learn more about Sikh culture and Sikh traditions and history? Come check out the Sikh Heritage Resource Kit. There are elementary and secondary kits. Here are just a few of the books that are available in some of the elementary kits. Each elementary kit has slightly different books based on what was available, so please check them out and you can experience more about the Sikh culture and traditions and history. Fauja Singh's Keeps Going On is the true story of the oldest person to enter and run a marathon. This is a great picture book. The images are wonderful. It tells the history and life of Fauja Singh. And then the great connection to Toronto is at the end. It talks about how he ran the Toronto Scotiabank Marathon. And it's a great story that connects with perseverance, determination, and has a great Toronto connection. Here are 3 books that highlight the important aspect of hair in the Sikh culture. The Lion's Mane connects the theme of the lion to many different cultures, not just the Sikh culture. And throughout the book, it talks about the importance of the lion throughout various different cultures. And it explores and celebrates the diversity within all cultures. And at the end of the book, it asks you to celebrate and add flags to show the story of how you are different, just like the character in the book, and celebrating that diversity. In The Many Colors of Harpreet Singh and in What is a Patka, you can explore the importance of a patka in the Sikh culture, and more so in Harpreet Singh, he connects the color of his patka to his feelings, and it's a great way to talk about mental health and emotions as well, and how colors can represent feelings and emotions. Hair Twins is a wonderful book that shows the relationship between a father and daughter and how they bond and connect over their hair within the Sikh culture. and they talk about how they may wear their hair similarly together, how they do their hair together in the morning, how they spend time oiling their hair as well, how they spend time dancing and building a bond together. The great thing about this book is that you can also use this to connect with other cultures and traditions in where hair is important and how that builds relationship and a sense of community as well. There's also a lesson to go with this within the Sikh Heritage BC Association website as well.
Wow, great information. Thank you. I will now request Mr. Peter Singh, Executive Officer, IT and IM Services of TDSB and the Chairperson of the Sikh Heritage Month Committee to provide his closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, Vanita. Thank you, Sukhmani. Thank you, Ranbir. You have been amazing MCs this morning and just connecting all the pieces. And you are in different spaces physically, but through Zoom, we all came together for today morning's presentation. And I also want to say thank you to Tina Singh for bringing her story and the journey she took to take on a challenge and solve it, not just for her family and her 3 boys, she solved for every boy out there in the world, and connecting those pieces to why safety is important. So when we go out for a bike ride, helmet is important. You don't want to leave a helmet behind. And everyone has the ability to have a helmet of their choice, their colors, and which fits on their head. Doesn't matter who you are. So thank you to Tina Singh and her amazing team that made it happen. And this also translates into something else. Now, when we see any challenges around us, we take our learning and use that learning to solve a problem or a challenge. And again, it's never happens on the first try. You have to do it multiple times. So that means there will be some failures. And from the failures we learn. And that's where Ms. Singh was actually sharing, what does the Chardi Kala means? Staying positive. And having that positive mindset will over time translate into better outcomes. So these are very important lessons. Those were shared with us. So thank you to Ms. Singh for sharing her journey with us also. And thank you to our board chair, Trustee Chersnolin, and also to our Associate Director, Luis Risco, who both joined this morning for opening comments. It's been an amazing month of sharing, learning, and coming to you and your classroom with multiple things. We started our journey on April 3rd when we actually invited Gurdeep Pandey from Yukon, who came in, actually brought happiness, joy, and importance of case uncut hair to us through his own story, and he shared some incredible Bhangra steps for with us. And I saw a lot of you actually dancing in your classrooms and in the gym spaces wherever you were, and it was amazing to see all those pictures on the Twitter itself too. Then on April 12th, we did the opening launch, and again, quite a number of performances were there, and an author in-house, Navjot Kaur, came in and shared her story and the books she has written. So that was incredible learning that day also. And that time we also had a performance by Sukhmani in the opening side too. Thank you to Sukhmani, always stepping up and getting ready for the celebrations every April. So every single year she has been joining us during these ceremonies. So thank you, Sukhmani. And this year, she also encouraged her brother Sirtaj to join her. So thank you, Sirtaj, also for performing. And on April 18th, we had 2 incredible individuals who actually work in Toronto media. And hopefully you got a chance to catch their message. Both Gurpreet Aluwali and Rajvinder Garawal were interviewed by a teacher, a TDSB teacher, to understand the identity, their journey, and what they're doing in their field. So it was so good. We have asked both of them to come back. In month of May, we're going to have another panel discussion with the two individuals. And this time we're going to make sure we record it and we will put it up. So part of the South Asian Heritage Month celebrations, and there will be another panel discussion happening. So stay tuned for that particular discussion. And today was our wrap up for the month. But the journey on learning about Sikhs and Sikhism does not stop here. It's not one time. It doesn't have to happen only in April, right? Every time you're going deep on any topic, you can make those connections. And there's a lot of material available in our own libraries. And you just heard the voice of one of our teacher librarians, Raman, who actually been putting those resource kits together for so many years now. It's an incredible set of books you can all actually loan out and actually review and learn and make those connections to it. So with that, I wanted to say thank you to our organizing committee too, and wonderful teachers from all over TDSB have come together and put these things together. Oh, by the way, I'm forgetting. We also put 3 podcasts together for you. So if you go to the Sikh Heritage webpage, there are 3 incredible podcasts done by our own students, and the teachers are also being interviewed in that one, but it's a student driven. So if you get a chance and you love podcasts, please hop on and check them out too. So with that, I'm just going to sign off for this month. I'm sure I'll see you again next April, and we will have another incredible set of learnings we can bring to you and your classroom in your school. With that, signing it off, and the traditional way of signing it off is Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you, everyone.